There is something unsettling about Jupiter, not because it looks dangerous, quite the opposite. From Earth, Jupiter looks almost peaceful, a giant sphere of clouds floating quietly in the darkness, painted in shades of white, orange, brown, and red. But that peaceful appearance is misleading, because Jupiter isn't simply a giant planet. It's an environment where almost every familiar idea we have about nature starts to break down. There is no ground to stand on. There are storms larger than Earth, winds reaching hundreds of miles per hour, lightning buried deep beneath clouds. Jupiter is enormous, so enormous that more than 1,000 Earths could fit inside it by volume. And yet, despite its size, Jupiter completes one rotation in roughly 10 hours. Imagine taking an object more than 11 times Earth's size and spinning the entire thing faster than Earth rotates. That incredible rotation helps create Jupiter's enormous jet streams, streams of atmosphere racing around the planet in opposite directions. Some of these winds can exceed 400 miles per hour. And this is where the first uncomfortable truth appears. Everything you're looking at is moving. The pans, the clouds, the storms, the entire atmosphere is in constant motion. And underneath that beautiful surface, there is no solid ground. On Earth, when you descend through the atmosphere, eventually you reach the ground. On Jupiter, you don't. There is no solid surface waiting below the clouds. You would simply keep falling. At first, the descent might almost seem peaceful. You would pass through the upper clouds. But deeper into the atmosphere, pressure rises, temperature rises, and the weight of everything above you becomes immense. Eventually, the pressure would become so extreme that a spacecraft couldn't survive. NASA described the pressures and temperatures deep inside Jupiter as capable of crushing, melting, and vaporizing spacecraft. And the frightening part is, there isn't some dramatic boundary where this suddenly happens. There is simply more Jupiter, more pressure, more heat, more darkness. And you keep falling. And then there is this, the Great Red Spot. You have probably seen it before, a reddish oval sitting inside Jupiter's cloud bands. It almost looks harmless, until you remember what you are actually looking at. This is a storm, a gigantic rotating atmospheric system, larger than Earth. Its winds can exceed 400 miles per hour, and unlike an Earth hurricane, this storm has no land beneath it to disturb it. Nothing to stop it, nothing to make it collapse quickly. It simply spins inside Jupiter's atmosphere. Think about what that means. On Earth, the most powerful hurricanes we have ever experienced can devastate coastlines. But on Jupiter, a storm larger than our entire planet is simply one feature, on one world, inside one solar system. And the Great Red Spot isn't even the only monster. Jupiter's atmosphere is filled with enormous cyclones, jet streams, and turbulent cloud systems. At its poles, Juno discovered giant cyclones arranged into strange geometric patterns. An octagon of storms around the North Pole, a pentagon around the South, and then Jupiter does something even stranger. It creates lightning, but not quite like ours. On Earth, lightning is most common near the equator. On Jupiter, lightning is commonly seen near the poles, and scientists have detected flashes deep inside its cloud layers. Some of these storms involve ammonia in water. Under the right conditions, the atmosphere can essentially create enormous electrical storms hidden inside layers of cloud. Imagine descending into one of these clouds. You cannot see far. There is no horizon, no ground, just darkness and flashes of electricity appearing somewhere in the distance. And you don't know how far away the next one is. That is what makes Jupiter disturbing. Not that everything's constantly exploding, but that so much of the planet is happening where you can't see it. But the storms aren't actually the most dangerous thing about Jupiter. The real threat is invisible. Jupiter has an enormous magnetic field, and trapped inside the magnetic environment are incredibly energetic particles. Jupiter's radiation belts are among the harshest radiation environments in the solar system. For a spacecraft, getting close to Jupiter isn't simply a matter of surviving the planet. It means surviving the space around the planet. This is one of the reasons NASA's Juno mission had to be designed so carefully. The spacecraft wasn't just visiting Jupiter, it was entering an environment that could damage electronics and expose hardware to intense radiation. The beautiful planet we see from Earth is surrounded by an invisible hazard zone, and you can't see it or hear it, and you can't feel it, but it's there. And then there is Jupiter's gravity. Because Jupiter is so massive, its gravity has a huge influence over objects moving through the solar system. Asteroids, comets, dust, entire moons, and sometimes objects get pulled into Jupiter itself. We know this because we have watched it happen. In 1994, astronomers witnessed something extraordinary. A comet had been torn apart by Jupiter's gravity. Its fragments then crashed into the planet one after another. For several days, pieces of the comet slammed into Jupiter. The impacts were powerful enough to leave enormous marks in the atmosphere. For a moment, we got to watch a planetary scale collision happening in real time. Jupiter isn't evil. It isn't hunting anything. It isn't protecting us. It's simply enormous. And when something that massive moves through a solar system, its gravity changes the path of everything around it, sometimes dramatically. So, is Jupiter actually the scariest planet in the solar system? Maybe not in a way you expected. It isn't scary because it's going to attack Earth. It isn't some cosmic monster. The terrifying part is much simpler. Jupiter shows us just how different a planet can become when nature is given enough mass, enough energy, and billions of years to work with. Earth taught us what a planet can be. Jupiter shows us what a planet can become. And somewhere beneath those beautiful clouds, a violent world and forces we are still trying to understand. From here, Jupiter looks peaceful. But that's only because we are far enough away. And maybe that's the most terrifying thing about it.